Okay. Dan Dawson, Senate District 10, which is all of Carter Lake and most of Council Bluffs. I happy to be here today. My committees I sit on is I chair the Ways and Means Committee, which is the Tax Writing Committee. I sit on Judiciary, Veterans Affairs, and Admin Rules and Rate Committee. For the legislative calendar, this next Friday is supposed to be the day that we would hopefully adjourn. Specifically, it's when the per diem runs out. And I would say that we are not going to meet that mark this year. We have a lot of big issues in front of us that we're going to have to resolve one way or the other. Some we probably can't get resolved, and some we might not. Maybe it'll get pushed next year. We still have to come up with budgets as well too. I think last time we were here, Leader Windschitl made a comment about a lot of bills out there. We have to ask ourselves a lot of times as to, are these bills really worth it? Smaller government, we don't run as many bills. Well, now we kind of pay the price for some of that stuff a little bit, because some of these bigger issues out there that we haven't had time to really give the full focus on, buried on some other things, now we have to get resolved. Just some of the bigger ones out there from just my personal standpoint. I know everyone has their viewpoint out there. Probably the biggest thing we need to get resolved before the end of the year, aside from the budget, reality, Constitution is something we're required to do. We could actually do a budget tomorrow and walk away and come back and do everything else next year, but I think we just have opportunities to do some good things out there too. So aside from budget, property taxes is probably the biggest thing we need to get resolved, I think, from both chambers going forward. And I know this next week, Chairman Kaufman over in the House Ways and Means Committee, we're going to sit down and make a lot of decision points, as well as talk to our caucuses too, and figure out what the pathway is forward. I think we have a good possible pathway forward. We just got to make sure that we're thoughtful and eyes wide open about the opportunities and solutions that we can put forward here. Another thing personally I want to get resolved, this is more of a Senate thing this year, pharmacy benefit manager reform. The House, give them credit, they've pushed forward some bills the last few years. We've had some consternation inside the Senate or different viewpoints on that. It's something I wholeheartedly have been pushing for since 2021 when I filed the first bill in the Senate standpoint. I think we're almost there to press us to get something really good done. But this is a system, this is a bipartisan issue as well too at the federal level. PBMs, they did serve and still do in some aspects serve a valid purpose. But they are the entity that is, I think the pendulum has swifted more to where they are incurring more cost to the healthcare system as opposed to making the healthcare system cheaper. So those are two big things I would really like to see. We got some other issues out there as well too. Energy bill, that's one out there. Governor's tax credit reform bill. There's probably some other ones out there too. But the two things I really want to focus on these last remaining days, and again, we will not be done this week, maybe 2 weeks, we'll see, I don't know, but property tax reform and PBM reform, I just think we have to get done before we walk out there. Probably some other issues too you are engaged in, but just from our standpoint, so thank you.
It's on the bottom of it.
There we go. Work? Okay. Hello everyone again. Thank you all for coming out. I love to see the civic engagement, genuinely. I love the fact that we've got such a big turnout that we've had to move to a bigger area. Representative Josh Turek, I represent all of Carter Lake and a portion of Council Bluffs, along with Representative Segrist. I serve as the ranking member on the Health and Human Services budget. I'm also on Health and Human Services Policy, Natural Resources, State Government, and Veterans Affairs. At the moment, we're moving towards budget. Been spending an awful lot of time now on the HHS budget, which is significant. Trying to make sure that we're taking care of the most vulnerable in our society, Medicaid, making sure that the elderly, the disabled. Some of our priorities in that, I know with myself and Representative Meyer, is to make sure that we don't see any reduction or cuts on the behavioral health side of things. We finally put some serious resources towards that, so we don't want to see that regressing. Also for me, one of my major priorities is to make sure that we see some additional funding go towards Medicaid reimbursement for dentistry, particularly for poor kids and for disabled individuals, just to make sure that they have some level of oral care. Another one would be to see us put a little bit of funding or resources towards the HCBS waivers. Right now, we've got, I think it's 23,000 disabled individuals that are on waiting lists, sometimes as long as 7 years. I believe it's 7.5 years right now for the intellectual disability waiver. Nursing home funding right now, this is absolutely critical. I know right now we are looking at trying to add an additional 25 million towards them. We have lost 31 of our nursing homes over the last 4 years. It really is something critical that we make sure that we put some additional funding towards that. So I know that on the House side of things, we're really going to fight to keep that 25 million going for them. And something that I've tried to make a lot of noise about year after year is putting additional funding towards addressing our cancer epidemic in this state. Only state with a growing cancer rate, second highest rates. We still put very little state appropriation towards this. 2 years I've run the bill to put at least $1 for every Iowan into cancer research to go to the University of Iowa. That's something that I hope ultimately will make it into our bill. So that's where I spend a lot of my time and energy. I'm really grateful to hear Senator Dawson talk about PBM. That is a huge issue that is really crushing our rural pharmacies in particular. Here in Council Bluffs, we ended up losing a pharmacy that had been open for more than 100 years, and it really was putting a lot of additional costs on the individuals. You know, we shouldn't be in this country, we shouldn't be making a decision on do we pay our bills or do we take our insulin or do we take our pharmaceuticals, and PBM reform would be a huge step in the right direction to address some of these issues. Thank you all for being here.
All right, good morning, everyone. There we go. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. My name is Matt Windschitl. I serve House District 15, which is all of Harrison County and the middle portions of Potawatomi County, wrapping around the Senator's District and the Representative's District. As we talked about, next week is supposed to be the end date, and I agree with Senator Dawson. We're not going to hit that mark. There are a lot of heavy issues out there that we still have to deal with, including the budget, and that is always the biggest consternation that we have in the legislature is trying to fund the priorities that Iowans expect us to fund, but at the same time passing a balanced budget. We touched on PBM reform. I too am encouraged to hear Senator Dawson say they're getting closer in the Senate. The House has been working on this for a long time. And this boils down to keeping your pharmacies open and available. We're not just talking about your big chain pharmacies. We're talking about your mom and pop pharmacies. And so we've been working on it in the House for many years. And I believe that we're getting closer to an agreement. So hopefully we can get that across the finish line. We've got a bill ready to go in the House. Just waiting to see what the Senate proposal will be. I know they're trying to iron out some kinks. And so we're looking forward to seeing what they send to us so that we can get it accomplished and down to the governor's desk. As we talk about the budget, one of the biggest problems I have, and Josh touched on it, when I use their first names, I mean no disrespect to them. It's just because we're all friendly and we all work together. But Josh touched on it, is the Medicaid rebasing for our nursing homes. In the governor's original budget proposal, she proposed to increase $25 million into the rebasing effort, and my caucus is dedicated to try and hit that number of $25 million. Far too often we see our nursing homes closing, as Josh referenced, and we need places for our elderly to have that long-term care that they need, deserve, with dignity and respect, and so we're fighting hard for that. The other thing that's kind of a glitch in the budget negotiations right now is making sure our community colleges are fully funded. The House is coming in with a proposal between $8 and $9 million to make sure our community colleges, like Iowa Western here in Council Bluffs, can have the funding they need in order to provide the quality secondary education that our community needs and deserves. Our community colleges are a backbone here in Iowa, and they're fantastic. We need to make sure that we're continuing to fund those at a level that is sustainable for them. The other thing that's getting a little bit of more tense negotiations is last year when we passed the teacher pay increase, we also had included paraeducator pay in that. And we had made a commitment as a body, as a legislature, that we were going to continue to fund those paraeducators. So right now, the House has got built into our budget an additional $14 million to continue the commitment that we made. Unfortunately, that is not encapsulated in some of the other budget proposals that we've seen. So we are fighting hard for that, as well as many other items. There's plenty of other issues I could talk about, but I didn't come here to talk your ear off. I came here to listen to you and provide feedback. So thank you very much. Thank you for being here.
Thank you all for that, appreciate it.